Long ago, when the noble King Arthur ruled Britain, and the sword Excalibur guarded peace throughout the realm, the castle of Camelot prepared for a great celebration. Today marks the anniversary of the king's coronation, and by ancient tradition, a special dish was to grace the feast. In the castle's stone kitchens, where hearth flames dance until dawn, the head cook selects the finest suckling pig. It is stuffed with the gifts of the land: green apples from the royal orchard, fragrant sage, leeks, and bread from the stone oven. They say the cook whispers an ancient incantation, so the meat may grant strength to the knights. The pig is mounted on a massive iron spit and placed over flames of sacred oak logs. For hours, the spit turns in the hands of strong servants. The heat of the hearth transforms tender skin into a crisp golden crust. Drops of fat fall into the flames, sparking like tiny stars. The aroma of honey, smoke, and spices fills the entire castle. The great hall of Camelot is adorned with garlands of wildflowers. Light streams through stained glass windows, painting the faces of the knights of the Round Table in gold and crimson. King Arthur sits at the head of the table. Beside him, Queen Guinevere, Sir Lancelot, Sir Gawain, and other legendary warriors. And then the doors swing open. 4 servants solemnly carry in a silver platter. Upon it, the pig, gleaming like a mirror. In its mouth, a red apple, symbol of fertility and prosperity. The king rises. His voice rings firm and warm. To Camelot, to loyalty, to those who break bread with us. Goblets rise high. Ale sparkles in the candlelight. Hey-o! The cook carves the pig. The meat practically melts. The apple stuffing releases fragrant steam. Knights eat, laugh, and share tales of battles and glory. This is more than food. This is unity. This is memory of times when honor, friendship, and a shared table meant everything. The age of King Arthur, the age of legends. In the cold waters of Wales, where mist creeps over sacred rivers, dwells an ancient creature. The lamprey, a jawless fish that has lived on Earth for over 300 million years, long before the dinosaurs walked. In the age of King Arthur, lamprey was considered food of kings, a dish granting strength to warriors and clarity of mind in battle. The caught lamprey was delivered to monastery kitchens. Only monks possessed the ancient art of its preparation. The first step sacred, the lamprey was bled, carefully collecting every drop of dark red blood in a copper bowl. This blood would become the soul of the dish. It would transform ordinary broth into black galantine, a sauce the color of night. While the lamprey simmered in boiling broth, the monk ground precious spices in a mortar: ginger from distant lands, cinnamon, cloves, long pepper. The boiled lamprey was removed from the cauldron. Its flesh had become tender, almost melting. But the true magic was only beginning. The hot broth was strained, and at this moment, the monk slowly poured in the preserved lamprey blood. The liquid darkened before one's eyes. From amber, it transformed into black as a raven's wing. The galantine gained its power. Roasted bread, ground into crumbs, made the sauce thick and velvety. Spices added the final touch, the fragrance of the East and magic. The black galantine slowly enveloped the lamprey. The dish was ready. The great hall of Camelot. Evening candles illuminate the faces of the knights of the Round Table. Today is not celebration. Today is remembrance. Servants bring in a silver platter. The cloth is removed, and all behold it. Lamprey in black galantine. The elder knight rises. His voice is quiet but firm. From the cold waters of the north, from the darkness of the depths, strength for those who wield the sword of justice. The lamprey is carved. White flesh contrasts with black sauce. Knights eat in silence. This is not a feast. This is communion. The dish that kings ate before great battles. The dish that reminded, darkness always precedes dawn. Lamprey in black galantine, food of kings, memory of times when every meal was sacred. On the royal lake of Camelot, two snow-white swans glide as one. Their necks form a heart, symbol of loyalty for life. But these swans are not merely birds. On their necks, the golden mark of the crown. By ancient law, commoners are forbidden to hunt them under penalty of death. In the throne room, King Arthur sits beside Queen Guinevere, their hands intertwined like the necks of swans on the lake. Today marks their union's anniversary. Only the king can permit taking a swan from the royal lake. Arthur extends the scroll to his head cook. In the castle kitchens, a special atmosphere prevails. The cook carefully arranges the swan's snow-white plumage, each feather a treasure. The bird is stuffed with herbs, chestnuts, apples, rubbed with butter, saffron, and honey. For hours, the spit turns over sacred flames. While the swan roasts, the cook creates the royal white sauce. Cream, white wine, almonds, the color of pure snow. And then, an ancient ceremony. The roasted swan is reclothed in its own feathers, as if the bird rises again, a golden crown placed on its head. 6 servants in snow-white tunics carry the silver platter through stone corridors. The swan in full majesty, surrounded by white lily. This is not food. This is sacred rite. The great hall of Camelot falls silent. The doors swing open. All behold the snow-white swan in a crown. The platter is placed before the king and queen. Arthur rises. The swan mates for life. As this bird is faithful until death, so Queen Guinevere and I are bound by ties that neither time nor trial can sever. Guinevere looks at her king. In her eyes, love that has endured through years and battles.
For loyalty, for love, for Camelot. For Camelot!
The swan is carved. Beneath snow-white feathers, golden meat, the king and queen taste the dish together. Their eyes meet. This is more than a feast. This is a vow renewed. The swan, bird of kings, symbol that true love is stronger than death. On the royal lake, beneath the moon, 2 swans still glide together, as always, as forever. A warm May night. The royal garden is dark, and only nightingales fill the silence with their song. On such nights, the king orders the dessert known as the food of lovers. Bird catchers in black cloaks set thin silk nets, almost invisible in the moonlight. One by one, nightingales fall into the traps and are carried to the kitchen. In the white palace kitchen, candles burn. 10 women use silver tweezers to remove tiny tongues, one bird, one petal of meat. By dawn, a number in the thousands. The tongues are dipped in boiling rose vinegar, then cooled in ice water. They turn clear like tiny crystal petals. The royal confectioner cooks thick almond milk, adding rice flour, sugar, cream, and drops of rosewater. This becomes the base of the dessert. For hours, he stirs the cream, folding the tiny tongues into it. The mixture turns soft pink, glowing as if lit from within. The cream is poured into a silver heart-shaped bowl. The surface is decorated with rose petals and sheets of edible silver, like moonlight frozen on the dessert. Deep at night, the dessert is brought into the hall. Under hundreds of candles, it gleams in pink and silver, like the moon resting in a bowl. The queen makes the first cut with a long silver spoon. The cream quivers, revealing hundreds of tiny white tongues inside. The scent of a May night fills the hall. The queen serves the first spoonful to the king, a sign of highest favor. Guests gaze at the glowing bowl. Pink light, silver, and candles merging into one. This dessert is a symbol of love, mystery, and power. Do you hear the trumpets of Camelot? They are about to bring in something that made kings rise and knights fall silent. The roasted peacock in golden plumage, a dish unseen in any century after Arthur. In spring, their cries echoed through castle gardens. Peacocks were raised only at courts. Their meat was considered too proud for common folk. The bird was caught and plucked, yet its skin with feathers, the head and beak was removed whole, like a royal cloak. The body was stuffed with a mixture of dates, almonds, and spices worth more than gold. Saffron from distant Persia, ginger, cloves. For 2 hours, the bird turned slowly over coals until the meat became softer than butter. And then a marvel took place. The hot bird was dressed again in its own feathers. The tail was spread like a fan over a hidden frame. Camphor-soaked cotton was placed into the beak and the plumage and set ablaze. The peacock rose again in golden fire, a symbol of immortal glory and a knight's rebirth. They said, whoever tasted its meat that night would not meet death in the next battle. They said that Arthur himself ate peacock only before great campaigns, vowing to defend Camelot, while his heart burned as fiercely as that flame. The white stag comes not to the chosen king, but to test the one who seeks the crown. If the ruler's heart is unworthy, the beast does not flee. It surrenders, as if leading the hunter to judgment. The knights of the Round Table feared such a hunt. The capture of the white stag could mean not glory, but a sentence. They said that no battle skill could save a man if the stag came not for triumph, but for truth. At times the creature appeared right before the feast, as if choosing who would be judged first. The meat was soaked in Burgundy wine, not for taste, but to reveal the truth like blood, which the king was unworthy of. Juniper cleansed lies. Cinnamon burned arrogance. Black pepper marked the price a king must pay. When the stag was roasted whole, they whispered, "The fire judges the ruler, not the meat." The sauce was meant to stain only the meat. But if the king was unworthy, the wine touched the white hide, and it darkened like coal. Then the gold on the hide became not power, but a mask of shame that could not be removed before the court. The stag was carried in silence. No one dared meet the king's eyes. All waited to see whether the curse would awaken. It was said, if the dish glows with dark flame, the throne is cursed. The king will sit, yet rule without blessing. Then the white stag becomes not a sacrifice, but an accuser. And the king does not eat the meat. He devours his own fate. They say that in Camelot, there existed a dish prepared only once in a century, the subtlety of Camelot, the living pie of kings. It was made for King Arthur himself, as if to test the glory of the Round Table. In the dim castle kitchens beneath stone arches, 10 of Britain's finest bakers kneaded dough from the finest wheat, butter, and yolks. They added the rarest saffron, so the crust would shine like gold worthy of a crown. From this dough, they shaped a massive castle with towers, battlements, and tiny windows. Its lower layers were filled with meat, fruits, and spices: venison, pork, raisins, dates, cinnamon, ginger, and cloves, stewed in a thick royal sauce. But the strangest thing lay within. Most of the castle remained hollow. Hidden platforms, wooden passages, and tiny doors were built inside it, like a real fortress. Only the bakers knew its secret. During the feast, as the knights sat silent beneath hundreds of candles, the castle pie was carried in by 12 squires. Its crust gleamed with saffron and gold, as if Arthur had ordered Camelot itself to be served. The king stood and touched the crust with his sword. They say the towers burst upward, and white doves flew out from within. They rose to the vaulted ceiling, like the souls of fallen heroes blessing the feast. Then masked musicians rose from hidden platforms and played a triumphant melody. Feathers drifted down like snow, knights raised their cups, and it seemed as though Merlin's magic had taken form in bread and meat. Since then it was said, whoever tasted the living pie would witness the truth of Camelot, where the sword serves not only in battle, but also at the feast.